Jordan, we still can't play guards. Should we play something else?
No, let's just keep talking about guards.
I'm in.
All right, let's do it.
This is Optimal Play. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Jordan.
And we are continuing our 22-part series. Now we're committed.
Our 32-part series.
Oh, damn.
By the time the next 10 characters will be out, hopefully we'll be done with the first 22
maybe.
characters.
Anyway, we're doing a deep dive into each character in Guards of Atlantis, the MOBA board game that we both think is excellent.
Yes.
How have you been since our Brogan discussion?
Well, I've had like 2 sips of beer, so I'm doing great.
I'm glad. I'm behind you then.
Not much time has passed.
Cheers. That was a lot of fun, though, and I think we're gonna continue, not all in one sitting, but continue at least talking through the 7 base game characters. And then I don't know about you, I probably need to go back to the table and play some Guards of Atlantis.
I agree. Yeah,
to be able to go beyond that.
Yeah.
But someday we'll be back with parts 8 through 20 through 32.
Right.
Of the series, right?
Hopefully soon. Soon.
Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get a lot more games in, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Who are we talking about today?
Tigerclaw the Cutpurse.
That's right. We're getting shady.
Getting shady, stealing some money, poisoning some people. But
But
not at the same time. Those are both green cards, right?
Ah, damn it! You're right. It is stealing or poison.
Yeah.
Man, what kind of Cutpurse can only do one of those things?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Let me tell you a little bit about Tigerclaw. Tigerclaw is as elusive as a shadow in the desert. A useful quality to have when half the continent wants you dead and the other half wants you quartered first and then dead. That's brief, but to the point. So Tigerclaw is just kind of looking at his stats and rolls is extremely the opposite of Brogan.
Yes.
Right.
Very fast, lots of movement, low attack, low defense.
Right. And then down where it describes his rolls, high on the initiator meter, pretty low on everything else, and Brogan I think was kind of high on everything but initiator.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So the anti-Brogan.
Wow, it's almost like we planned this, but we didn't.
But we really didn't. The reason Tigerclaw is up is because I played him the other day.
There you go.
And so figured he would be fresh on our minds. We're going to dive right in and look at his kind of opening hands, and then and then talk some more big picture, and then builds as we go.
Yeah,
is that
right.
what we did last time?
Yeah, that's what we did.
I black out.
No. That's exactly what we did, and it worked out well, I think.
All right, then why don't you introduce us to his basic attack?
Yeah, so this is Tigerclaw's gold card. It's Blink Strike, Initiative 13. It's already a lot faster than Brogan's 11. 1 defense and 2 movement, so relatively low on those stats. And then it's a 2 attack, and it says before the attack, move 2 spaces in a straight line through an enemy unit, target that unit. So obviously this only works if the space through the unit is empty, right?
Right.
If it were an obstacle, or if it were, like another hero or minion, this wouldn't work.
Yeah, I know we talked about Brogan's red card and how easy it is to interrupt this. This one's pretty easy to interrupt too.
Yeah, in a very similar way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also playing Tigerclaw. One thing that I didn't necessarily grok until I was actually playing him is that he's pretty bad against clumps of minions. There are some spots where there's 2 or 3 minions touching each other, and he needs a really particular angle in those cases because he can't. Because otherwise the minions can block him from going through one of the other minions.
That's interesting. I was thinking he would be good in that situation because if there's 2 and then, he's next to them, you might be able to block one of the 2 attacks, but you probably can't block both.
That's true. If he's literally in the one space that is adjacent to both of them.
Right.
Although also then in a lot of places on the map, then there would be a rock blocking one of those directions too. Yeah. So it's I found myself, even though it's a low attack value, so it just essentially causes almost any discard, I found myself with clearer opportunities to use this against heroes and minions.
Interesting.
In a lot of rounds.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Should we look at his silver too?
Yeah.
His other basic card is Blend into Shadows. It's much slower at 3 initiative.
Wow.
Has 2 defense on it, and then basic skill Area with 2 radius. If you're adjacent to an obstacle, place yourself in a space in radius not adjacent to an enemy unit. If you do, next turn you're immune and may move through units. So this is him. This is the classic rogue stealth button, right? Go invisible for a turn.
Right, and it's so slow, but it impacts the next turn. So theoretically, you could play this, go last, and then go first with Blink Strike the next turn.
Yeah, you could look at this as actually being an extremely fast card for the future turn.
If you're willing to take a turn off, yeah. I guess that's
kind of, because it doesn't do very much
on the turn.
This turn, yeah. It moves you and turns you immune, but you're not accomplishing anything.
Right. And it's, although obstacle would include like an enemy unit, you can't really depend on an enemy unit to turn it on, because they can, especially if it's a hero, they can just move away.
Right.
And then you're left in the lurch. So you gotta either have, you probably want to have either a terrain obstacle or, a friendly unit nearby to help you turn that effect on.
Yeah, and what's cool about using the like rocks that are on the map, the terrain obstacles, is that you can usually use this to like also get through them.
Yeah.
Right? Go stealth and end up on the other side of it, which is a pretty good movement value, because otherwise you'd be moving around it, which is like 3 or 4 spaces a lot of the time.
Right. Especially if you're in that corner when you're like foresting.
Right.
If you just died and you're going to like the opposing team's zone near their base, you can just go through the forest and then just hop over those rocks right into the zone.
I like that you've taken the MOBA term jungling and just turned it into foresting.
Is it called jungling? I've never played a MOBA, so I don't know.
Have you never played a MOBA?
Never played a MOBA. Well, I played like one game of League of Legends or something.
Should play some. MOBAs are fun. Should play some League of Legends or something.
Yeah. No, I should.
They're past being all the rage. Like, there was that era where everyone was making a MOBA.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of just League and Dota again, but that's fine.
I've heard they're both really fun. I feel like you need a lot of skill and time to like put into them.
Yeah, much like Guards of Atlantis.
Right. Well, right. Well, I'd rather do this like in person, personally.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
All right. Should we move on to the red card?
Yeah. What's his tier 1 red card?
It is Hit and Run, a 9 initiative, so, faster than Brogan's son.
Yeah.
We shouldn't only compare these to Brogan. I'll stop doing that. 3 defense, 5 movement, and 3 attack.
That's a lot of movement.
A lot of movement. 5's quite high. And target a unit adjacent to you. After the attack, you may move 1 space.
Yeah.
So it lets you do a little reposition after your attack.
Yeah, I think this is great. To do a melee attack and then step away, so that if they also played their melee attack or something, only yours, assuming you went faster, only yours gets to land.
Right. Or
Really, really strong.
Setting up for your next attack or for your next effect. Yeah, I think it's really strong as well.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, the position you have to be in to do your attack is not where you want to be for your next effect.
Right. And then I'll be curious actually to see how many melee red cards have this, but... And I know we should not constantly talk about Brogan here. We just recorded our thoughts on Brogan's cards right before this, but both of them now have their melee attacks with a movement component. So you're not having to actually entirely choose between repositioning and attacking with this card. You're doing some of both in a way that I'm wondering if that's actually quite common, and I haven't really noticed.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like Brogan's movement, not to go back to that too much, or to always say not to go back to that, is actually a restriction. And in this case, it gives you more options, right? It's like, for Brogan, I feel like most of the time I'd rather not have to do that, but in this case, this is never bad. True,
but if you play that well, you can be happy about ending up further towards where the minions are going to push to, or wherever. Yeah.
At least it's more of a trade-off. In this case, it's more of a bonus.
Yeah. And then this can be... my other, thought on Hit and Run is that even though the flavor of it, I think, is like you stab them and run away, is that if you kill something, you can move into the space where it was.
Right.
So that's pretty flexible, I guess. It's not just a safety tool. It can be to position you to be aggressive again on your next turn.
Yeah, absolutely. Thinking especially of those 2 minion spaces that we talked about before, you kill one and move in with red, and then you're in a position to go over the other one with your yellow.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And then he is late fingered with his green card. I think this is the quintessential Tigerclaw card.
Right.
Yeah. So this has 2 initiative, 2 defense, 3 movement on it, and it's a skill that says move up to 2 spaces, then take up to 1 coin from an enemy hero adjacent to you, then move 2 spaces in a straight line if able. So this is actually... I was surprised. This is another one where even if you're choosing its ability and not its imprinted boots, you're getting a lot of movement out of this.
Right.
So it was really valuable for its movement. But yeah, then I'm burying the lead here. Stealing coins from your enemies. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool, and like it's super strong in turn 1 too, because oftentimes you'll just get 1 minion kill. But if you can also pull off the slight fingered move, you can get 1 extra coin, which is the difference between leveling up once and twice on the first turn.
Indeed. Yeah, it would mean not using this for its 3 spaces of movement, which is maybe one of your best options to get up and be able to kill a minion anyway at the start of the game. But I do think I did that when I played Tigerclaw last. I think I got the double level turn round 1.
I think you really want to, yeah.
Felt great.
Felt good, right? And I feel like with most characters, my first play on the first turn will be the green card to do my like fast travel towards the battlefield. That's the effect I'm most comfortable losing often. But I feel like with Tigerclaw, I would almost never do that. I would use blue or something else.
Yeah, try to line that up.
Yeah.
The other interesting, I guess, facet of it is that while the initial move is move up to 2 spaces before you steal the coin, then you must move 2 spaces in a straight line, which actually means like this does not set you up for either of your attacks the next turn. At least not against the hero that you stole from.
Right, not against the hero you stole from.
So that's actually it's a double-edged sword. It's like sometimes you would much rather not make that movement, and you must do it. Yeah.
It's also very slow. So if you play it and like someone sees it and they can just move out of the way, it's a shame to not get the effect.
This is that's why it basically needs the move up to 2 spaces to be playable at all.
Right.
Because otherwise, yeah. But that's as I'm slowly starting to get better at Guards of Atlantis. That's what I'm learning is that sometimes the cards you play, you're mainly playing so that your opponents have to play around them. And this is a great example of that. Is like all of a sudden you've almost created a radius that's pretty big because you're going to move 2 spaces and then steal from adjacent to that. You've created this big radius that the opposing heroes all want to get the hell out of, and that may cause them to really have to adjust their plans.
And we've talked about how good it is on turn run to get 1 extra level, but in future turns, you might be able to deprive another hero of a level.
Yes.
And that's a very strong effect as well.
It is. Not just leveling up faster because you have this type of effect, but slowing down your opponent's leveling. Yeah, it's a big deal.
If you're going to have exactly the amount of coins you need to level on a turn, you might play very strongly against this card, right? You might really consider it before taking it.
On the flip side, this is the worst part about playing against Tigerclaw. It feels terrible to have your coins stolen.
Yeah, it does feel bad.
I hate it so much.
It's also a great moment around the table. Everyone's like, it's so fun.
It is. One more starting card, right?
Yes, the blue dodge here. Initiative 10 and movement 3. That's the only way you'd play the cards for the 3 movement. And then its effect is a defense effect. Block a ranged attack.
Yeah, I think it's pretty strong to have infinity defense against a ranged attack.
Well, it depends a lot about, which heroes you're up against.
It does.
Right?
Yeah, so it could sometimes be useless.
But, if you have a hero that you're going up against, like imagine you're drafting or something like that, and someone plays a hero where the build is much stronger if they go ranged, or if they only have ranged options, and then you take Tigerclaw, either A, you're turning off their really good ranged attacks, or B, you're forcing them to go down a melee route that they may not want to go down, in theory.
And the reason that this card is... It just feels very strong to me. I think most of the defense cards that block, they feel very strong in Guards of Atlantis because there is no, unlike an Unmatched or other kind of like card combat games, you don't have to predict when your opponent is going to hit you with the attack. You just have to have it in your hand ready. In a way that feels like with cards like this, it really favors the defender and makes Tigerclaw feel very hard to kill.
Yeah,
because you don't have to predict when you're going to get hit. You can just discard it, and you can even evaluate the hit that you're taking and be like, I know that this was just a 1 value. I know that you have a 6 coming at me. I'm going to save my my block card for that. It feels really durable because of this card.
Yeah, but I think, and this may be an overgeneralization, but I don't think there are any cards that are block any attack, right? All of these are limited to melee or ranged, or limited in some other way.
I would guess so. Yeah, having not memorized all 22
of course.
heroes, I would imagine that every card that blocks is under some situation.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just different, right? Where cards with a block value, they block any weak attack, and then this card just blocks any ranged attack, right?
Yeah. It's true.
It's a different condition.
Yeah. Okay, so that is Tigerclaw's starting.
Should we talk a little bit about these tips here?
Yeah. So the first, and this is, boy, I would not have thought of this.
Yeah.
The best defense is not to get hit at all.
Right. Stay out of range. Use your high initiative and high movement to not put yourself in a position to get hit.
Turns out, if you don't get hit, you won't die.
Right.
Yeah, it's a hot Guards of Atlantis tip.
There you go.
Use mobility in your silver card to stay alive. Yeah, that's also
So right along the same lines.
So far, none of this seems that specific to Tigerclaw. I guess like silver cards maybe aren't always about staying alive, but they're.
Well, I feel like Brogan. You can't tell Brogan, use your mobility to stay alive, and it's better not to get hit. You have to say you have a high defense. Like, don't worry as much about getting hit.
That's true. It's not. Well, he doesn't have mobility. You could still say like use the mobility that you have to not die.
Sure.
Ranged attacks and discard are the main threats to you, which is interesting because we just looked at how he can dodge ranged attacks.
Yeah, it's also interesting because the blue Zag option is
blocks
melee attacks, right? And so I guess that really is a Zag. Most of the time you're worried about range.
Well, I think it's also the reason that this says that ranged attacks are the main threats to you. It's probably because he is so good at like so many of his cards do something in melee range and then move away. So he spends so much time at range that because of that, he is largely only worried about ranged attacks.
That makes a lot of sense. And then finally, enemies can deny you your basic attack by blocking the crucial space. That's the space directly opposite you on that, on that unit. And then don't let them. So again,
good tip.
Hot tip. Hot tip.
That's.
So Tigerclaw is really a character who feels fast and speedy. Not a super hard hitter, good at avoiding attacks.
Yeah.
And positioning is key, which is true of really all of the guards' characters. But
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Some more than others for sure. But he's wily. Wily's not the right word. He's squirrely. he darts in and out of the fight, spending a lot of time out of the fight.
Yeah.
Ideally, if it's going well for him. And again, it's so funny that he's rated as an initiator, which I guess I just don't grok what initiator means.
I think it means he can get in there. He gets in there and does stuff. He's the aggressor in a lot of these actions.
I guess initiator to me, if you're initiating something, that means it's the start of like a, either a big clash or a plan or something. And to me, he's very much like kind of a loner, like more than. For example, what does your teammate do to coordinate with you on the turn that you're pickpocketing? Like not that much, right? Like he's actually a little bit less, I think, like coordination and collaboration focused than other heroes.
Yeah, I guess I just don't think that's what initiator means.
I don't know what initiator means. That's what I'm saying. It makes no sense to me at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe like Brogan's more reactive, right? Oh, he's got the shield, so he can protect his minions. Oh. He has this red card that everyone has to play against.
Oh, so you're saying this is
he's
proactive versus reactive?
Maybe.
Okay.
Trying to find the right definition. All right, should we talk about builds or?
Let's do it. You've got the straight upgrades to the red cards this time, right?
Yes. Okay, so we've talked about hit and run. The Zigs, the direct line upgrades, are combat reflexes and leaping strike. Combat reflexes increases the defense of the card by 1 to 4, the attack by 1 to 4, and says before the attack you may move 1 space, target unit adjacent to you. After the attack, if you did not move before the attack, you can move 1 space. So basically that lets you take the move either before or after the attack.
Yes.
And then the straight line upgrade to the top, the level 3 card, is move 1 before and after.
Yeah. Which feels really good.
Feels really good.
It's a melee attack that you do not have to start or end in melee range.
Right. But still only 4 strength, so not super strong. And what are the icons that come along with these two?
If you're taking those, you're getting defense both times.
Okay. Interesting. So I feel like that leads towards more of a minion killing build where you're trying not to be hero killed. Like you're trying not to be killed and you're trying to take out more minions? Maybe?
Yeah, I guess. I think that he's really good at taking shots at minions, though. Or, I'm sorry, at heroes. Okay. I just think that, unlike Brogan, who can attack for 7+, you're not just trying to land that big enough to kill them on turn 1 or 2 of the round blow. This is where I know I was just saying I don't feel like Tigerclaw has to coordinate with his team as much as some, but this is where you want to coordinate and be like, okay, there's very little that they can do to get away from my red card or to punish me for it because of its flexibility, but we all need to focus fire that person.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you want to talk about the Zags?
Yeah, so if you want to go in a different direction, you can take Backstab, which is 9 initiative, 6 defense, 5 movement on that. Do all of his red cards have 5 across the board movement?
Yep.
You spend your 5 to move, you're getting halfway across the map. Backstab attacks for 4 plus, and then it says target a unit adjacent to you +2 attack if the +2 attack if a friendly unit is adjacent to the target, and it gives reminder text. A friendly unit is another hero or a minion on your team. And then backstab with a ballista, which what a
great name!
What a hilarious escalation of backstabbing. So all of a sudden, this is a ranged attack,
right?
With 1 range. Target a unit in range +3 attack, and this attack cannot be blocked if a friendly unit is adjacent to the target. So this is a range 1 card with no built-in way to extend it, no like condition that extends its range, which some of the range ones have. So this one you would need an item or other effect to make it matter that it's ranged.
So it matters in one way always, which is if you're playing against someone that has a block all ranged attack cards.
So yeah, so Tigerclaw's
not the only one who has that, right? Then that would work on this card where it wouldn't work on these.
Yeah.
But also there is one upgrade that gives a ranged icon, so we'll talk about that in a little while.
Yeah.
But I think you probably want those together.
I'd agree. That makes sense.
And this is stronger, right? The attack strength gets up to 7 with this, as opposed to 4 or 4 on the.
Yeah, it gets up to 7 if a friendly unit is adjacent to the target. So I think what's happening here, right, is you have a friendly unit distracting them while you stab them or shoot them in the back.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And
Look
actually,
over here. If it's a minion, it's 8 strength, right? Because just by having that target, like
it's true.
Minion, right?
Yeah, it is funny that minions do that in heroes,
right?
don't.
Yeah, it is kind of funny.
You're right. I think that's the direction that this is saying, is like all of a sudden you're the powerhouse who's trying to pick off. You're a sniper. You're trying to just pick off heroes.
Right.
In the right situation, you attack them for 8 plus any attack bonuses you have. Or if you've poisoned them, which we'll get to, minus their defense. Right?
Yeah, sure.
That can be pretty damn good.
And then those come with an initiative and then a radius upgrade.
Radius, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
What's radius matter for? Just his blending into shadows?
Does the poison not have a radius? Or is that
no, it's range.
Oh, so maybe just blending into shadows.
Yeah, so all that improving Tigerclaw's radius does is it lets you move a little further when you stealth. Pretty minor upgrade.
That is actually pretty minor.
Yeah.
I feel like these icons are normally so desirable.
Yeah.
Any icons that go in this like other slot over here seem super good, but maybe this one's not that great.
Yeah, overall, because his cards have such good movement printed on them too, I wouldn't be that excited about boot icons. I don't know if he. Oh yeah, I'm holding a green card that upgrades his movement. It feels like that'd be. Movement upgrades are never useless,
right?
But it's not something he needs.
Okay, that's fair. Should we move on to green?
Let's do it.
All right. So the straight line upgrades here are Pickpocket and Master Thief. So Pickpocket, I think you have the original green as well.
I do.
Pickpocket
is Light Fingered. Yeah.
So Pickpocket's 2 initiative, 2, so it has the same stats, 2 defense, 3 movement. Move up to 2 spaces, then take up to 2 coins from an enemy instead of 1. Enemy hero adjacent to you. Then move 2 spaces in the straight line available. So the exact same text except 2 coins.
Doubles the coins. Which is the equivalent of a whole minion kill.
That's a whole minion
pretty
kill.
good card.
It's much easier to block a level with that and to get to your level. And then finally, the top level is a 1 initiative, so it goes a little slower.
Yeah.
And it's got 3 defense instead of 2. And then it's the same text except 3 coins.
Yeah. So I think leveling up to Pickpocket feels great. Like doubling your coin income is awesome, and yeah, it makes it so that you feel like you can essentially kill 3 get the gold for killing 3 minions every turn, right? Kill 2 minions and steal 2
if you can. Yeah,
it feels really, really good. And then I feel like the upgrade to the third one feels like a win more unnecessary, like just in slowing down your card but even further. And then stealing a 3rd coin, which is in itself situational because your opponents don't always have 3 coins.
That's true. Your opponents don't always have 3. Although, when you get to this point later in the game, it's more likely they'll have 3 coins because they're waiting to spend the 5 or 6 or 7 they need.
Sure, yeah, but if they did level up, then they have less than 3. And even if they've leveled up and then killed a minion, they may not have 3.
That's true, yeah. If they've killed a minion,
yeah.
The 2.
So honestly, I think Master Thief is one of the most just like straightforward bad cards that we've looked at so far.
That's so interesting.
I think well, what's the let's see. You do get
you get a boot.
You get a boot, which I was just saying is not that useful. Yeah, I don't see the situation where I would upgrade to Master Thief as Tigerclaw.
I mean, I think that the reality is you have to take a green upgrade So maybe
That's
this
true.
would be your first
at
grade
level
upgrade,
7.
but you might want to just keep this instead of moving to the other. This can also help you fundraise to get to your ultimate. You know, I feel like Tigerclaw can get to his ultimate more easily than
that's true.
Another hero.
Definitely has more likelihood to get to his ultimate than average.
But yeah, I definitely see the criticisms there. I think that's valid.
Yeah. So what you could take instead is at tier 2 the Poisoned Dagger, which is a 2 initiative, 2 defense, 3 movement speed skill that is ranged with a range of 3. It says give a hero in range a poison marker. Each initiative and attack item of that hero with a poison marker reduces that value by 1 instead of increasing it by 1. This is nuts, I think. And then it becomes even better at Poisoned Dart, which slows, like Master Thief, slows down to 1 initiative, is up to 3 defense, 3 movement speed, still 3 range. Give a hero in range a poison marker. Initiative, attack, and defense items of heroes with poison markers reduce that value by 1.
And defense is the addition?
Yes, defense is the change there.
Yeah. So that's really strong for hero kills, obviously.
Yes.
You know, like you were saying, taking 2 defense icons and making them minus defense. Although, if you're playing against Tigerclaw, you're probably thinking a lot about your upgrades, right? You may not want to take defense upgrades against Tigerclaw if you're going to go that route.
Yeah, that is true. But because this covers all 3 main upgrade stats, like it punishes them no matter what.
Yeah, you just have to pick what you don't care about. Like maybe if you're going to go for minion kills, you just try and get attack upgrades.
Yeah.
So that you don't really care about.
I mean, it's so that if you're trying to kill them, the defense downgrade is great. If they're trying to kill you, the attack downgrade is great.
Yeah.
And if you're going for minions, it's maybe not as straightforward as those 2, but the initiative downgrade is great because you might get that push before they do.
That's a good point.
Because of it, or have a way to manipulate, push the minion or something before they can kill it.
Yeah. Do you know what happens if an attack value goes down to 0?
I looked this up when I was playing Tigerclaw and found no mention of it in the rulebook. So I don't know. I guess you could probably think of it as stopping at 0 or going negative, but since it didn't comment on it, I think you still have to play a card to defend against it, right? Otherwise, a -1 attack can still kill you if you don't have a card to discard. That was my interpretation.
That makes sense.
Let me know if there's been an FAQ or some other explanation of that. But yeah, the rules didn't say that there's some magic. There's some impact of hitting 0 or negative. Yeah.
Interesting.
So the poison I played last time I played Tigerclaw, and I thought it was great. I think it was partly great because I was at a team I was at a table of relatively inexperienced players who essentially got blindsided by it. The downside I think here is that this doesn't move you, and it has 1 initiative. So if the opposing team expects you to poison them, they can be like, all right, everyone play your red cards. We're going to fuck him up because he's going to stand there doing nothing but giving one of us a token.
Right.
And I think that like, had they done that to me, they probably would have won the game instead of me. Because
that's a good
you're just
too. You're just like preparing your blow dart or something.
You're right.
And they're like
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a big risk, and because markers that you give people last until the end of the round, right? You want to play it early in the round, and so that makes it even more predictable that you're going to do it. So I think that's the big downside of this card is that you're just a total sitting duck.
It also sort of brings you closer to your opponents, right? You were saying Tigerclaw often wants to stay outside of the conflict, and a lot of the effects trigger off being in range of minions, but this one needs to be near heroes.
True, although it is pretty big range at 3.
Yeah, but like think about Brogan again, not to
Yeah, he could charge.
If you're within 3, you're within his attack radius.
You're in danger if you're within 3 of him.
Yeah,
that's a good point. So, yeah, I felt like when I poisoned someone, like giving them their stats that they had 2 items on, the poison was essentially -4 to that stat.
Yeah.
It felt so strong.
Oh yeah,
it felt so powerful. But I can see how once your opponents can are better out playing around that, you could just get really punished for spending your turn poisoning.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. High risk, high reward card.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so for blue, we have the 2 upgrade trees. The main one here is maintains blocking ranged attacks. So sidestep is 11 initiative, 3 moves. So I think it's 1 faster, but the same movement. Block a ranged attack. If you do, you may move 2 spaces in a straight line. And then at the top level, block a ranged attack. If you do, you may move 2 spaces in a straight line, and you may swap this card with a card in your hand. So this card would end up in your discard pile. You can pick it back up and get rid of something that you're less keen to have in your hand and use it, I guess, infinitely in a turn.
Yeah, I mean, it's as long as you have more cards to this. Like, it's still kind of like, it is still a hit against you. You still have one less card.
Yeah.
But you can just, for the entire round, essentially not worry about the attack strength of ranged attacks. You can just always block them.
Yeah. I doubt you'll ever use it more than twice, but you could.
Yeah, probably not, because at that point, you've lost 2 other cards. You're probably going to die. Yeah. It's pretty rare that if you get attacked 3 times in a round, you survive in cards, period.
It's tough to do.
Yeah.
So I think the Zag moves it to melee defense?
Yeah, so parry is the other option for your tier 2 blue card. It still has 3 movement on it, and it says as a defense play, block a non-ranged attack. The attacker discards a card if able. So this not only blocks it, but hits them back.
Mm-hmm. So good for hero kills.
It is, yeah. And then riposts blocks a same stats, block a non-range attack, the attacker discards a card or is defeated. So that's we saw something similar with Brogan. This is maybe a trend in the way cards are designed, is that tier 2 might cause a discard and tier 3 causes the discard or die.
Right, and that was also a blue effect. So maybe that's something in the blue line.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, so I think that these are probably more niche because as we've talked about, Tigerclaw is largely not adjacent to his opponents if he can avoid it, and so they are probably attacking him ranged more than melee.
Yeah, it depends who you're going against.
Yeah.
It's also a good counter to what we're talking about with Brogan once again, is you want to play your red card at the end of the round, and if you're playing your red card and it's your last card, and that, riposte, whatever, the level 3 comes in, you would just die, right? You would miss and die.
If you've lost one other card somehow. Right. If all you've done is play your 4 cards, you still have one to spare.
Right. Yeah. If you've lost one of the cards,
But I mean, yeah, you could certainly coordinate with your team to be like, I'm gonna riposte. I never know how to say that word.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna riposte him here, and you just land any attack, he'll be dead.
Right.
Pretty cool opportunity, but I still think that 90% of games you're gonna want the ranged. Defense.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, especially because there are even some short range heroes like Tigerclaw. There are plenty of 1 range attacks. Even
Sabina, for instance.
Then it's the dodge line of cards that you want to defend those, even though it means they're getting up in your face.
Right.
Yeah.
And the ultimate?
Give us the ultimate.
Cloak and daggers here. And as we said, this might be more obtainable than some other heroes.
True.
All the effect. So, yeah, it looks like Tigerclaw's here with some ghost faces.
Oh yeah, what is going on there? Are those friends of his?
Hard to say.
Yeah.
So it says here, if you are immune, which I think only happens for Tigerclaw out of his gray card, makes you immune for the next turn.
Yes.
Before you perform or repeat any action, move up to 2 spaces. After you perform a basic attack, you may repeat it once on a different target. So the way this would be played is kind of specific. You'd play your gray card, you'd be immune. Mm-hmm. Then the next turn you'd have to play your gold card, which would make you immune. You
still get the 2 extra spaces no matter what you do.
Right.
So it could let you move in the same turn that you poison, something like that.
Okay, yeah. Right? Or it would let you get even further with your red attack, you can move 4.
Right.
On that turn. But the clearest synergy is with your basic attack, because you can move to do your basic attack, then repeat it once, and before you perform or repeat an action, move 2. So it's move 2, gold attack, move 2, gold attack.
Yeah.
All in one turn.
I feel like that, if nothing else, you can almost always get two minion kills in one action with that.
Yeah.
Which is very strong.
That is very strong.
But then also, there's a high likelihood that you could line up a hero attack if you want it there too.
Right, and actually you get 2 extra moves every single turn. Right? Because this is not a once per round effect.
But you have to be immune in that last one.
Oh, sorry, you're right.
Yeah. So it is just once. It just once each round that you get.
Thank you for that correction. Yeah. So it is just once per turn, once per round. Okay, that seems like a strong effect. Maybe not as strong as Brogan's, but easier to.
It doesn't feel game breaking like Brogan's. You count as 2 minions. It just feels like it's like.
But if it lets you kill 2 minions in a single turn, you're sort of counteracting Brogan's on a similar level, right? Well, 2 minions. Maybe that's the value of an ultimate is 2 minions.
It's 2 minions. I'll have to keep an eye out for that as we look at more ultimates.
Yeah.
This is really just saying 2 minions?
This is 1 extra minion, though. Because you...
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although it helps you even kill the first minion when you maybe couldn't ordinarily with that initial move.
Right.
Because we talked about how his Blink Strike is a little tough to set up sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But cool ultimates. I do like that Tigerclaw is more likely to ever play it than most characters.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be. It's not the same like, oh, now we're one of us hit our ultimate. Now we're gonna win. Is kind of what I feel like a lot of those cards read like. Is like, how can you lose once you have this?
Right.
I don't think that this is quite that level.
I agree. Do you think it makes sense to spend a moment talking about different build paths with these? Because I think we sort of glossed over that a little bit in terms of which lines you want to go down.
Yeah, what like combination of these options would you like? I don't feel like it's as clear as we've seen that certain ones go together. Like the blue card, at least, is really all about what types of attacks you're expecting to take.
Yeah.
Much less about how you're building otherwise.
I think that's right. I think the red Zag that gives you the ranged attack, you probably really want that ranged upgrade, which is on the green Zag. Is that right?
The ranged upgrade,
Oh.
no.
No, it's on the main.
Or it's if you take the poison, you would get the range upgrade from the standard green upgrade, right?
No, there's no
Oh
range on
no, where does he have a range upgrade?
He has this radius upgrade. Is that?
Oh, it's on
no,
it's on
the blue.
Riposte. Yeah.
So
it's on
then you
tier
kind of
blue.
interesting. So you go
Yeah.
towards. So that's along the main line though. So
Right.
you keep with dodge, you keep your ranged defense, and then you increase your range for your ranged attacks. That seems like
Yeah.
a good combo.
And then
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I think it's just. I don't think that he has build paths like Brogan, like we talked about last time with Brogan. Like, I think that which red you get depends a lot on your team. Also, whether you have hero allies that are going to want to be standing next to your opponents, right? Because that's what turns on really. That's what like kind of justifies this card's being strong is the bonus attack from a friendly unit being adjacent to your target.
Right.
And I think that depends a lot on what hero or heroes you're partnered with.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, even with Brogan, I think it probably depends a lot on what's going on in the table. That was just sort of a heuristic.
Sure.
Or some
But I do think there were pretty clear synergies between these cards over here and these cards over here.
Yeah, I agree.
And then here it's like, to me, it's the blue depends on what your opponent team comp is. The red depends on what your team comp is, and the green should always be the pickpocketing tier 2 and poison tier 3.
Interesting.
Very
specific.
That's to me the most like objectively obvious. I'm sure that people may disagree, but I would be surprised if I ever do anything else for the green.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I like Tigerclaw a lot. He's really fun.
Yeah. So with that green upgrade, do you think you'd take that? Like, which of the 3 upgrades on green is that going to be? Is that going to be your level 4 upgrade or your level 6 upgrade?
That is tougher.
Sorry, I guess it's 5 or 7, really.
5, 6, or 7, right? Yeah.
Yeah, 5, 6, or 7.
That's tougher. What I kind of want to do. I kind of want to play it so your opponents don't know what upgrade you took until the first time you play it, right? So it would almost be, I want to time that upgrade so that I can play it as a surprise once.
I mean, once you get good enough, though, your opponents will know just by virtue of which items you have, right? And, like, maybe not necessarily, but...
Yeah,
I'm not sure exactly what the rules are.
For revealing
reveal it?
yeah.
Yeah, is it supposed to be the first time you play it? I actually am not sure.
Yeah, it is a minutiae that we haven't really dwelled on very much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like because you're such a sitting duck on the turn that you poison, like if you can find that time when they won't be playing around it, yeah, that's the turn to take the upgrade, and that's gonna vary from just board state to board state.
Yeah, I feel like my very first upgrade, if I'm not zagging on red and going to ranged, is going to be that 2-coin pickpocket.
Yeah,
and try and get that off every
I
turn.
agree, because that's just that snowballs your character.
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
The sooner you take that, the more upgrades you will get. Period.
Right
in the game.
Right.
Yeah. Yep, I think that's what I did when I played him, and yeah, so really to me, Tigerclaw is quite straightforward. I think when upgrading compared to other characters.
I was thinking because you don't think there's clear build paths, that means there's more minutia, there's more considerations, it makes it more complicated.
I think that each color's upgrades have a different unrelated reason that you would do them, but those reasons are pretty easy to figure out and follow.
Okay, fair enough.
That's where I'm at with it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, I learned a lot about Tigerclaw from you. From your
Thanks.
experience.
I learned nothing because I'm already an expert.
There you go.
Turns out.
Excellent. Yeah.
Well, thank you for chatting about Tigerclaw with me.
No, thank you.
And I guess I said that right, but for some reason in my head freaked out because I thought I said Tigerpurse.
No.
Tigerpurse is a very different character. Yeah.
Tigerpurse is a very different character. Oh, man.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into a Guards of Atlantis character. I assume that you love this game as much as we do if you're still here watching us go on about this. But thank you for joining us, and if you would like the video and subscribe to Optimal Play, that's the best way that you can support and help us. Plus, then you'll get YouTube serving up more of our cool chats and playthroughs.
Right, and check out our other character overviews, right?
Yes, right. We've done one.
We've done one, and we'll do more. And who knows when you're watching this?
We will. We plan to do the first 7, and then my guess is we'll have a little hiatus as we get some more experience with the higher complexity and the expansion characters, or maybe not. Maybe we'll just take
by the time
two weeks off our respective jobs and play nothing but Guards of Atlantis so that we can go straight into it.
Just got to get 2 other people to also take 2 weeks off their jobs.
That's easier said than done.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments if you want to take 2 weeks off and play 4 games a day of Guards of Atlantis.
That would be great. Yeah.
I've taken worse vacations than that. That's
Okay.
for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Oh man.
All right. Well, until then, be
Thanks
optimal.
very much.